Okay.
Welcome to Continue Mission Radio with Captain James McCormick. By veterans, for veterans. Guest hosts tonight are author Greg Meakin and Miss Val, our military radio gal. Continue Mission starts now.
You got me headed to the left, headed to the right, headed back and forth, but baby, it's alright. You got me going to the east, going to the west, going up and down, cause baby, you know best. All day, all night, running around, I'm never gonna stop because you never settle down. You got me shooting into space, flying at the sun. I'm never coming back, cause baby, you're the
Good morning, America. Good morning, world. It's September 3rd, 2025, and this show is coming to you from the great state of Arizona. This is another rapid deployment of Continue Mission Radio with Captain James McCormick. I am Val Olson, and I'm here today at my kitchen table with Greg Meakin. My doorbell is on and ready just in case there is a drop-in guest or two. This is an exciting show because it is another broadcast on the Veteran Channel. Just like Continue Mission, the Veteran Channel is produced by veterans for veterans. So let's light the fuse. Let's buckle up, everyone. Welcome to Continue Mission. Greg Meakin, what is on your heart today?
Val Olson, my pal Val. What's on my heart today? Is the world a crazy place right now or not? Are things like going faster and faster and accelerating every day with new headlines? I'm digressing already, Val. I'm digressing. First things first. First things first. You and I, as usual, are at your kitchen table like we did almost 4 years ago. And as ever, this is called rapid deployment. So as ever, we can have drop-in guests. There were 2 or 3 possibly coming in today. I don't think they are. They're off doing like their own podcasts, or they're in Washington, D.C. They're busy. So I just want to say good morning, not only to you, but just to also slow down and slow myself down. First things first. First things first. I have my cup here. Do you have my?
Oh, yes, tea time.
Oh,
Have
you're
tea
going
today.
you're going a little British on us every week, aren't you? Every other Sunday at least. But well, here's my secret. Do you remember my old wonderful brand with secrets? We start our show usually. Now I start my shows with either a secret, tell a secret,
Yeah.
or tell a story about your father. That's my favorite question. You know, the first person I asked that to on camera, Mark Lamb, in 2022. Tell me a story about your father. So, but today I'm going to tell a secret. My secret is I always like to have my coffee cup, big time coffee guy from Seattle, the only place in the world where coffee is perfect. Only thing Seattle's perfect on right now is coffee, but other than the price. But my little secret is I don't have coffee in here today, Val.
Oh,
I don't have coffee. I have chocolate milk. Okay, remember I throw you curveballs at the beginning? I have
yeah.
chocolate milk. You say, well, why is that, Greg? Why do you have
Why
chocolate
is that? Yeah, tell us.
It's weird when you get older. Believe it or not, I had a lot of weight loss in the last maybe 10 years or so. Weight loss, and I'm actually down as light as I've ever been. I love this talk. See, I'm digressing. You got your tea there. Seriously, in my prime, I was like 5'10", 175, run like the wind. Now I say I'm barely like 5'9". I'm like 5'8" something and $139 soaking wet. 139. I'm going, whoa. So seriously, my wife, who's way smarter than me, and she's also a phenomenal gourmet cook, and Ellie Mae Clampett, who loves all animals, but she brought in probably about a month ago a big gallon of chocolate milk. And how about digressing? I had forgotten I was addicted to chocolate milk when I was a kid. I mean, way back in the 60s. I love
Yeah.
chocolate milk, but as long as and I had it like from the dairy in upstate New York. I mean, real chocolate milk. And so she was just putting up seeing if I still liked it or not. Val Olson, not only do I like it, I mean, it's like almost addictive. I'm
Well, you
sick.
were hooked on chocolate milkshakes for a while,
Oh,
and I know your wife makes you very special Boston cream pie, right?
yes,
On your birthday. Yeah.
big time.
So I
I
see
asked
a
her,
pattern, chocolate.
it's, like I say, I don't need alcohol anymore, or right, even some of those some of those guys, those cocaine days or whatever. I got my chocolate milk. Seriously. So cheers to everyone out there.
Yes,
I'm
thank
going,
you so much. We want to welcome you today. The Veteran Channel is brand new, and it's so exciting because we're on demand. We are available. We right now are featured on Apple TV, Amazon TV, Roku, Greg Meakin's YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook pages, and dozens of other platforms. And we air live every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. So if you missed the live show, no worries, because there are 27 or 24/7 replays on multiple platforms. And it's important just to let you know we're here with you. We are actively recruiting our vets. So if you stumble on us, our mission starts now. And for some of you that are wondering, how can I get involved? Really, it's just have a breather, share this hour with us, retire, and then we're going to redeploy you. So thanks so much. And a special good morning to all of our heroes.
absolutely. So well said, Val. Indeed. This is another episode of Continue Mission Radio on the Veteran Channel. And this brand was founded over a decade ago by all of our heroes, Captain James McCormick. Perfect time just to bring up his name. Captain James McCormick, he has a message for us today. He is the founder of this radio station. He's the founder of radio program Continue Mission, and the founder of the Veteran Channel. He is usually our featured guest. We've had him, Val, believe it or not, over the last 3 years, we've had him on dozens of times. There are literally over 100 videos on my YouTube channel with Captain James McCormick. And I say this because I have a message from him today to everybody. He's in Washington, D.C. Captain James McCormick is the Executive Director of Government Affairs for the Vietnam Veterans of America. He was unable to pop in, so I will say, Captain, do you have any message for the folks? And he does. He says, please have people visit our website at vva.org, vva.org, and check out our legislative updates. As a lot of our viewers and listeners know, these guys don't just they're not veterans and veterans associations stuff for fun. Okay, they try to make a difference and try to make a change right in Washington, D.C. The Pete Hegseth of the world, our wonderful director of defense, and Captain McCormick and these guys, they're pushing to improve the way of life for our veterans and also the respect that they deserve. Because we're talking a bunch of Vietnam guys and stuff in the past. They never, ever want it to happen again, where our military, our veterans are disrespected. And when we talk about our veterans, we talk about, of course, our wonderful military veterans and enlisted. But we talk about our law enforcement. We talk about our first responders. And we talk about our border guys. Sheriff Lamb, we'll talk about him a little later. He's into this veteran world now. There's brand new brand 10-7 end of shift because he's retired and redeploying, as you say. And Sheriff Lamb is very vocal about the challenges of the veterans in law enforcement, Val. If you read this book, 10-7, incredible book, I'll be writing a review on it. The key here, or at least his theme, is what do you do after you're retired, et cetera. So all these veterans in all different industries. I mentioned this last week, but this is just a statistic that keeps jumping out at me with the veteran law enforcement guys. they all have their challenges, just like the military guys. Those guys are so a lot of them are so messed up. Our Afghanistan guys and Iraq guys, a lot of them, the burn pits and all this stuff. But Sheriff Lamb had brought up a statistic about these law enforcement guys that retire. And this is usually after, 20, usually I think it's average 20-year career, and I'm sure some more. But when they retire, by the time they retire, they have seen average of 400. It's like 300 to 400 tragic events. Everything from fatal car crashes to murders to the worst thing you've ever heard. And so 300 to 400 of those. And the average American civilian, like me, Greg, and you, Val, by the time we, quote, retire or get to be my age, we've seen 3, maybe 4. Are you kidding? So guys and gals who are retired from all these professions, and these include other professions. I know a lot of tradesmen, some heavy equipment guys and stuff. I know truck driver guys, they can barely walk now because truck driving took a toll on them. So to all these guys, I just say hats off to you. I can't imagine if someone's seen 400 tragic events, how that can affect them the rest of their life. I can't imagine. So, and as we said, I think I mentioned last week, very often we don't hear about it, because most of these guys are guys. They don't talk about it. So,
True. That's true.
a little bit passionate there, but Val, take the mic for a little bit. That's kind of opening up. I really want folks to know who James McCormick is, and of course, Mark Lamb and his mission. There's a common theme going throughout right now, Val, as we'll continue to attest. There's a movement forward in this country, a movement to common sense, a regard for our elders and our veterans and our retired people. Boy, oh boy, back to you before I go full-scale rant on you, Val.
It's true, and I think that that's like so important to address is our heroes, and oftentimes our heroes forget that they were the ones that they took the call, they did this, it just became a part of their day-to-day experience, but the impacts and effect, and when that when they go to retire and then they have to deal through all of this stuff, like life changes so drastically when you think of retiring. So we are like, just hit the pause button. Retiring means you just get, retired and new tires put on and then redeployed. But we are a sanctuary really of there's nothing off limits. So that's important. We go root level and we talk about stuff. And oftentimes it's stuff, that we don't really want to unpack or we haven't even considered unpacking. But we are passionate at a heart level, a brain level of making sure that connection is healthy and whole. And that's what we do here. Is we get you ready for reassignment, redeployment, because we need you. The world needs you. All of our generations need to entangle together, and the problems don't just fix themselves. So we are problem solvers, and we're also truth tellers, and we bring you the guests and the people that are making an impact. This isn't we're going to sell you this. We're going to, it's not an infomercial. It's as real gets. And we're going to leave you better than where you started when you first tuned in, because you're going to learn stuff. You're going to meet the people, the world changers, the global leaders. And also we're going to recognize our heroes in a really impactful, important way to say thank you. And I say good morning, heroes, every day, but we can't thank you enough for your service. And we're excited to see where you're going to be deployed to next.
Isn't that great? That's such a great word, deployed, redeployment. So much of this and so much of the chat we're having these days is to do with older guys. Seriously, it's the veterans. Most of our veterans right now, you have the Jameses of the world and stuff. They're in their 50s. You get a lot of guys 60s, 70s, and boy, there's a few left that are 80s and even 90s. And what I like is the respect I hear. Because I am now traveling down Route 66 years old. And I want to tell you, if anyone doesn't think there's age discrimination in the United States of America, you need to talk to me off the record because there is. But what a little remark here, just about respecting our elders. It's a great word, elders. Is I have personal connection with a number of groups. One is the Indians, for some reason, and believe it or not, Val, I went to an Indian church service, small little tribe here on last Sunday. That's another broadcast with Pastor Andy Combs, and also these wonderful, hardworking Mexican people. And yes, the word legal, Mexican people, amazing, because I've interacted with those groups quite a bit as an older person, and I can't believe how much respect I feel from them. Kind of like the regardless of age, they see, I believe this because I've interacted with a lot. They see older people as a resource of wisdom and something to be respected because you bloody survived. I have so many friends and relatives, as everybody does, that haven't. They haven't had the privilege of waking up in 2025. So this was a bit of a digress, but an important one is I reach out and I thank those folks in the Indian community, and I'm talking about folks even up north in Canada, and the local Mexican folks, hardest working people in the world. I thank them for the respect I feel from them. I had one older Mexican lady come up and say, "Gracias, señor." Just very nice. So I think that was an official digress. I do want to shout out something here, though, Val, if I can take Tanner. I'm going to bring up Tanner's name. Today is hopefully is a day of mostly just kind of shouting out stuff of the news of the day and shout outs to people, because, again, we've got a lot of folks that couldn't make it to the show. And I wanted to, Tanner, who is, of course, my son up in Seattle, an absolute rock star. We've had him on the show a number of times, but Tanner's 45. But I just asked him off the cuff if he had any, beautiful photo, Val, if he had any message for the listeners, because these listeners have been listening to him in the past. He does a lot of media work now, too. And again, just check my YouTube channel on that. But Tanner's message to everybody was today is, and I'll quote, "Faith is forged in the valleys and the storms," end quote. And I said, Tanner, as usual, you're such a godly kid, and he always has been since he's 4 years old. I said, isn't it funny that's your message? And Captain James McCormick's book was Battle-Tested Faith. It's like they had talked to each other or something. Right? But isn't that nice? Faith is forged in the valleys and the storms. That's a message this young man wanted to give to everybody, and he could have had 1,000 messages. He just had a brand new married guy with his wife Angel, his new wife Angel. He's up in Seattle, Angel's in Texas. Two awesome kids in Bremerton. One of them's 13 years old, 6'2" basketball player, 6'2" basketball player, 13 years old. So there's my special shout out to Tanner, because what a nice message. What a nice message for the audience about faith. Go ahead, Val.
I love that. It's simple truth. And that's what it's all about is where is your faith? And without faith, you really can't make stuff move or go. So whether that's, in your life, personal, professionally, or any part of it, you really have to make sure that your tank of faith is full. So I love that. Just, it's keep it simple. You don't have to get preachy and everything else, but it's just the reminders of the significance and power that hope and faith have in your life. And everything starts with a choice. So I am so thankful to be here in the United States. I'm so thankful to our vets who really are crucial in my walk here as a broadcaster and being able to freely share what's on my heart and mind. So I thank our vets for that. But just to remind people what you have here in the United States, because oftentimes we just kind of take it for granted. Don't ever take it for granted. My focus is here on the domestic front and paying attention to what's going on in our community. And there are no shortcuts. So it really starts with ourself. It starts with our home, and we have to clean up the mess on the inside. So, self first, then into our families, then into our home, and then into the streets, into our state, into our country. And that's really how we mesh all of this together. And our law enforcement, you know, I feel like we have to take a minute and acknowledge the connection between military, law enforcement, our border security.
Yeah.
I thank them and I look them in the eyes and I say, thank you for your service. And
Yeah.
sometimes they're like, I don't know if I can accept, like you can see that they're thinking, and it's like, no, you are on the front line. You are a defender. And so it's important to recognize that we have this mesh that's coming together and linking arms. So do you want to go into that a little bit and just
Just
break that down?
bring up a huge point is basically we're feeling secure in our country right now. Like, hello? And I don't even need to hear any naysayers about this. I'm saying, honestly, I mean this. In my life, my old life, I've lived through 13 U.S. presidents and as of this year, 13 Canadian prime ministers. And it might sound naive. It might sound unresearched, which it's not. But I'm saying this is the first time me as a regular American guy, born in America, part of the whatever, 60%, 70%, the silent majority is in it, going back to the Nixons and JFK days. This is the first time I'm kind of trusting my government and the administration that they're looking out for me, for regular U.S. citizens. And I go right up to the president on that. This is quote. Can you imagine that this is even controversial statement? But it's just what you're saying. We feel basically secure in the country right now. At least that someone's on our side and that law enforcement's doing their duty. If anyone doesn't know what great law enforcement looks like, look at Pinal County, Arizona, and the way Sheriff Mark Lamb went about his business for 8 years. It can be done. Check out Washington D.C. How calm it is these days. It can be done. Check out the border. Get this. Zero illegals, zero illegal crossings. Hello? We were told it couldn't be done. Hell, it can be done. If anything, and if that's a bit of a rant for the day, it's well deserved. To all of our, and you're right, Val, it's all of these agencies combined. These border guys are great. We've hung with them. I see border guys every day down here in Arizona. How's it going? How's it going? He said, yeah, we're pretty bored these days. I'm saying, well, God bless. You're not having to chase people down and risk your lives, you guys, because they were, and a lot of them have died. So if they say they're bored, and I'm saying hallelujah, hallelujah. So again, a smidge of a rant, but really shout out to not only the veterans, but enlisted folks, people active duty on the front lines. We appreciate you. And you know what? People are noticing them now. They're noticing them because of, imagine this, the internet world, the podcast world, live streaming. You're not going to keep us quiet this time. So if anything true, as you say, Val, total shout out to those guys. I have a quick shout out as well on my end. It's like I'm going total Generation X, and I'm living life off my phone and texts and stuff. Val,
Love it.
I'm underrating myself, but I want to shout out to a gentleman I've chatted with quite a bit in the last few days. I've known him for I think about 3 years. Captain James McCormick introduced us, and he is the president of the Oil and Gas Workers of America, Oil and Gas Workers of America, and his name's Matt Cody. It's spelled Coday, and it's pronounced Cody. And we've had a lot of nice chats because Matt, much like Captain James and all of these great patriots, he's passionate about the country. He and all those oil and gas guys, amazing guys, hardest working guys in the world. They love the country, and they also believe that energy security is national security. Hello. Matt has he's not only passionate about the president, he even goes around the country endorsing good candidates and stuff that will follow this type of agenda and America First agenda. And I just shout out to him and his guys. Works hard. Matt Cody, but he gave me, and I'll let him. Hopefully, he'll be able to come on in this next few weeks. Val, he's been on our show before. There he is, Matt Cody with that person on the right there. I think that's the President of the United States. I'm not sure, but we have a president, by the way, that's very pro energy. If anyone didn't know, but I'm going to have Matt break the story whenever he's on next, where there's a major pipeline. He's a natural gas guy. This is going to be all about natural gas. It's out of my lane because I'm not an energy guy. But there's literally going to be natural gas pipeline from, and I think it's starting Arizona. It's going to be basically coast to coast, Arizona straight to the Mississippi. Those kind of policies. Pipelines are important, everybody. If you want to keep our gas prices down, pipelines are important. But I will have him again. He's always invited, but I'll have him on for another show because that would be the most amazing. I'd like reserve a whole hour for Matt Cody because he's working Washington D.C. on these issues, but passionate. He's passionate, which I love, about our prices, about boots on the ground or skates on the ice up in Canada. But passionate, our gas prices, our energy prices, utility bills, again, security, national security. So that sure sounded like a full-blown plug, but it is for those guys. And those are the guys we're talking about. They're part of this same team, Val, of they're God Family Freedom guys, okay? And they all, bar none, are looking to our president for leadership, and I guarantee it, total loyalty and buy-in to his policy. So there you go. I think that's been a couple today, Val. But to go ahead and comment on that, I think we've had Matt. You and I interviewed him. I think we had him on like last year during one of our marathon shows, and he was. Back to you on that, Val. I'm really hogging the mic today, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's important, though. It was a privilege to interview him. He was busy, of course, with him being in DC, but just who he's connected to, and he reminds me of just Alberta guys. He's in the field, boots on the ground. And I think that that's such a great overlay to explain, the strength in who we are moving forward, in this mesh that's happening from law enforcement to vets, to active military, to firemen, to our first responders, to our oil workers. Oftentimes it is, I have witnessed this personally amongst that community of men, whether it's Alberta or it's USA. These oil workers tend to be the first to respond in a rapid deployment type of way, especially when it comes to infrastructure or it comes to national type disasters. They are the ones who bring the equipment, who bring the supplies. And, just like every other hero that we cover, they don't say anything and, they're tough about it. But yes, you are tough, but it's important to acknowledge who these heroes are, what makes them heroes in the community, locally to national level. And so just to, make a communication grid, we welcome them and we honor our oil and gas workers too. It's all about celebrating our heroes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel that's the trend. That's the wave. Praise God if that's the case. Getting back to a wave of normalcy, 1950s handshake world, etc. Kind of hand in hand with that bulletin board. Let's shout out today. Before I forget, I know I'm talking about James quite a bit today, James McCormick, but I want to do a quick shout out about his book, his just amazing book, Battle Tested Faith. I touched on it earlier. And I say that because this is not just a shout out to James. He's the founder of this radio show and this network. But this is because as I congratulate him, I said, now you're an author. Now you're a published author, James. He's everything else in the world. He's got multi-college degrees. He's a pastor, or at least he's ordained. A lot of people don't know that. But Battle Tested Faith, I was blessed he had asked me to write an introduction to this book. I've really read it cover to cover and everything, and it's just amazing. It's available on Amazon, Battle Tested Faith, and it will renew your faith in mankind and how you can get through. I mean, get through. We think we have tough lives over here, and especially younger people. Oh, no, 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 no. Talk to these guys. Talk to a two-tour guy, 2 tours of war, 2 different wars, Iraq and Afghanistan, and memories like galore. I mean, galore, but stories to tell. And you'll, as I say, I almost felt like you're not going to be the same after you read that book, because it really does give you perspective and how blessed we are to be in this country and safe and sound. Hello, in the lower 48, as they say, safe and sound here in the United States of America. So that's a total shout out. It's on Amazon, Battle Tested Faith by Captain James McCormick.
Yeah, it is a wonderful book, and it really goes back to his childhood. I really connected with that. And, books, it's like they're making a comeback. People are so done with the fake and the narrative of the moment. And when you watch and read wholesome material, it just does something. When I watch TV now, I tend to be watching much older shows and series, and my kids are gravitating towards it too. So don't think that you can't bring today's generation and revisit the old stuff. The old stuff, the classic stuff, it's classic for a reason. And it's all about quality. It's just like anything else. You get what you get when you go to the Chinese dollar stores. Garbage. If you want wholesome and real, you have to find it. And so I see it coming back to that as well. There's a real hunger in our younger generation. They are not all of them, but depending on those that are searching for better and quality, they're looking to our older generation.
Right.
They are searching for that. So we have to be ready and on so that we can meet their signals, right? When there's an age gap, it doesn't mean, oh, I don't speak their language or tech is our holdup. There is still face-to-face eye contact, and our boomers have knowledge that needs to be imparted to
Right.
other generations. And so that is on them to let it out. And also our youth and Gen X, we have to connect. So whether it's via campfires or it's a TV show just like this, we're gonna peel that onion back and find ways to connect and just make life in the United States better. Make America great again.
There you go. There you go. I have right off the press here. Have a message from the USO to our listeners and viewers from the USO. This is from the commander of the USO Northwest, basically the West Coast of the United States, based out of Seattle. His name's Don Linegang. He's a retired, not retired. He's still working. Commander, a U.S. Navy commander. He was a helicopter pilot. Did I tell you that, Val? Like
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. He says you can land one of those things anywhere. Yeah, a little inside scoop. Commander Line Gang is very active up in the Seattle area. Again, same theme here. This is obviously the USO travel transition. He's based out of SeaTac Airport stuff, and does amazing work. The USO, what he had to our listeners, keep supporting our military with your thoughts and prayers. And also, of course, tax-deductible donations can go to the USO. Look them up. But keep supporting our military with your thoughts and prayers, because he runs into them all the time, as you can imagine. So thank you very, very much on that, Commander Line Gang. And back to you on that, Val.
I'm seeing that as well on social media. Many military from so many different ranks and companies are reaching out saying, this is what I do. Please pray for me at home. God bless America. Like these 20-second snippets of just reminding as you're scrolling, that's right. That's how I can get involved with their mission. But this is a new trend that I'm seeing is that our deployed are asking for prayer, and then that's on us. So that's so cool. I love that. I actually stop and really think about that. And what a way of communication, from field to home. And wow, like that we didn't have that tech in World War II or World War One, and now you have it, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, here's your chance. You know, you can go so far as I often, when I watch law enforcement that'll share a video, they might be at a lemonade stand and they're buying lemonade or they're helping a little kid. I take the time and I like send a private message to their department, and I'm like, thank you for being in the neighborhood and what you're doing, and so often they take the time and reach back out and they just say, thanks for encouraging us. You don't know what that means to be encouraged. And I thought, wow, like, have we forgotten how to encourage each other? And
That's right.
it's just the most simple,
Yeah.
make eye contact,
It's
right?
so
We
funny
see
you say
you.
so funny you bring that up because I was raised with the local policeman who walked the beat. Remember the word "walk the beat"?
Walk
He'd
the
walk through
beat.
the neighborhoods and stuff. And does anyone remember the Andy Griffith Show? I mean, this is what law enforcement can be, used to be. And as distant as we get in this internet world and the social media world, there are indeed law enforcement folks, and again, the led by the Sheriff Lambs of the world, who are getting into the community and they're using social media and interactive, because the more that civilians know about these law enforcement guys, the more they respect them. So, but it's up to law enforcement. Do you guys get out there? They're older generations that maybe just want to sit, yeah, obviously in the protection of their office and all that stuff, but it's their responsibility to get that out there because they're there. We've been to those events, Val. We've been to events with the deputies out there, Pinal County deputies, and kind of training exercises and stuff. And I joke that I'm not a gun guy. As people know, I'm from Canada originally, but at least raised in Canada, and I'm not a gun guy. But I remember I once took aside one of those young, it was deputies. Pinal County deputies at the events. I think he might have even heard that. And I said, I don't have a gun, but I feel like I'm the safest guy in the United States right now around you guys. I said, seriously, I said, can you imagine if anyone messed with us? You know, the film crew or the whatever. He said, oh yeah, we'd square it away. And he would. Never underestimate also for folks, never underestimate the younger generations, these military guys and law enforcement. And there's guys like there's border guys, there's Coast Guard guys that are heroes and gals. But never underestimate the younger ones because remember Sheriff Lamb had said the most underrated thing in the world, or at the time we were talking about millennials who are now in their 30s. I'd include Gen Z and millennials now, Gen Z up to 27 years old, and then millennials, is that they're some of the fiercest warriors, the best soldiers they've had. They understand, they've actually learned from kind of their parents or grandparents who are in the older generations, so they remember that, but they also understand technology. And of course, military is all technology right now, but never underestimate those younger generations. And if you go around and look right now at most of our first responders, our firemen, our cops, and all that stuff, most of them are Gen Z in their 20s and then maybe 30s. And I'll tell you what, that's the most underrated crowd in the world. They're rock stars. I even got a personal story about that. That's for another broadcast, but I've watched them save a life. So I'm going to, if possible here, Val, if okay with you, looks like we're about 40 minutes into the show. Once again, I'm going to do a little bit shorter today than maybe usual. Had we had one or two of those guests that possibly could have popped in, we might have been broadcasting for a couple of hours. We're flexible that way, Val, right? We're flexible. We can hold it over to a second hour. We can hold it over to a third hour. We had a show once that was 3 hours and 17 minutes with, I think, 3 or 4 separate guests. But in this case, we'll definitely keep it to under an hour. And just early going, just to thank everybody out there, not only the folks that we have thanked in the military and all our heroes and stuff, but the people, the listeners, the viewers, the SRF, Stark Raving fans who comment. We haven't jumped on comments or anything today, but all you folks who support us. And very often, this is the silent majority, as we used to call them. Call them 80% of Americans. I think we agree on 80% of stuff. We're regular folks. If you don't think that Americans are just heroes at the home front level, just go check out, see an emergency sometime or a natural disaster. Americans rally, but they're not the ones on social media in Washington, D.C. trying to take down a president. You know, so they just go to work, right? Pay their taxes. and all that stuff. But I wanted to, before I officially sign off, I wanted to give you a few minutes, Val, okay? Because you always facilitate these awesome broadcasts and stuff. You need to do a great job, but obviously, very often you are the host, if you will, and not a lot of opportunity to chat on your own on issues. I want you to, if you would, there's. I try to stay out of Canadian politics, as you know, and I'm deeply rooted in Alberta and Alberta 51, but I really do. I'm very distant to it because it's so busy in the United States. But I will say, Alberta and Alberta 51, okay, they're getting some real creds right now, if you will, and some attention on the United States side. So if you would, not lengthy, maybe 3-4 minutes or whatever, because a lot of our audience is going to be American. But if you would take 4 or 5 minutes, whatever it is, and just any news, anything you want to talk about, go as edgy as you like. But then
Well,
after that,
yes,
we'll move
I
on.
would love to just take a minute and update you. But first, thank you, of course, to all of our veterans that are joining this morning. It's so important just to recognize the role that you play, and as a Canadian, working towards addressing a lot of the human rights violations that are happening in Alberta. We are working actively to make sure that the United States knows at the highest levels, what is happening. So I'm actually planning for a visit to Congress. So to the 16.9 million vets out there, please include me in your prayers, because that's what we're doing, is shining a light on local issues. My submission is covering all of it. I don't want to leave anything out or anyone out, but to give a real honest account and description of my personal testimony. So I'm working at that actively, as are many other Albertans that, they're just like us. We're neighbors. Americans, Albertans, so many of us are related. It's a border that, really questionable border, if you ask me, on separating our families. So we're looking at reconnecting those family links that have been disconnected. So I know that directly involves many of our vets at home. So I just wanted to share that little update. I'll be going to Congress soon. Don't have a date yet, but thanks so much, and thank you. And of course, I just want to give a plug too, really fast, for those that are watching on Roku or Apple this morning. Thank you. Don't forget, on Greg Meakin's YouTube channel as well, you can find our topics and discussions just broken down in bite-sized pieces, and that's the best part, because maybe there's something we touched on today and you want to go back and share it with a friend. Go to YouTube, Greg Meakin, and you will find it there. Thanks so much, Greg.
That's so awesome. Thank you, Val. Thank you for that update. To all the nice folks up in Alberta, God bless you guys, okay? Don't give up. Don't give up the fight. But I also say keep it simple. The United States of America would roll out the red carpet, wants you with open arms. I even wrote, you'll laugh, Val, I'm digressing. I even wrote an article, boy, it was over 2 years ago, where to Alberta, you've just been dating the wrong girlfriend. Associating with Ottawa. Look it up, right? But so don't you guys give up there. Keep the good fight. United States loves you, okay? And the White House knows about you. I know that the White House knows about you. So Alberta 51, and remember, it's Alberta 51 is the ticket. That's all I'll say. I promised I wouldn't get into Canadian politics, but God love you guys up there. Hold on to that real quick, would you, Val? That's cool. That's the Alberta 51 hockey crest designed for the custom hockey jerseys up there. There's been actually 2 shows on this. This was designed by my artist son, Carson Meakin. And at last count, inside that crest, there are about 32 hidden messages. Which is cool. That's what we did the show on it. But what's interesting about this is I used this thumbnail as a thumbnail on a video on my YouTube channel. Because it was a music video, oddly, coincidentally, it was an Alberta 51 music video, oddly. But I used that thumbnail, and it became the number one video to this moment on my YouTube channel. Last count, almost 250,000 views. And I think a lot had to do with that thumbnail. Thank you very much. We had some comments on that video on YouTube where a guy was saying, "Boy, why don't you use that as your logo? Or we need to do T-shirts with that, whatever." So there's my kind of final note there on Alberta 51. Keep up the good fight up there, okay, guys. But I will start wrapping it up here real quick if we can, Val. Thank you so much for your facilitating the show, but also for what you do. People don't know what you do behind the scenes on the home front, managing 3 kiddos at home, changing the world as far as justice, looking out for your Canadian folks, your Canadian brethren up there, but being a happy American living in Arizona. Okay, your story is it's a great story. Maybe we'll do a show on that someday, Val, but just wrapping it up once again, thank you everybody out there, especially with the ones that are the folks out there that are passionately involved or passionately in wanting our countries to be better and safer and more prosperous. And to, as I say, go back to 1950s handshake world. Combine yesterday with today's technology and smarts, because it's amazing. But don't you get married to AI or anything, okay? Don't trust your computers too much, right, Val? Marry the two. But I will finish off thanking everybody, and also to remind everybody that every day is a brand new day. It's a brand new day, and all we have is today. And try to learn something, obviously, every day. And I always close out with, wake up in kindergarten every day. There's so much to learn and so little time. Because before you know it, you're in first grade. Thanks, everyone. God love you. And back to you, Val. You can close it out.
Well, thank you so much to all of our heroes. I just remind you that we are recruiting, and your mission starts now.
Welcome to Continue Mission Radio with Captain James McCormick. By veterans, for veterans. Guest hosts tonight are author Greg Meakin and Miss Val, our military radio gal. Continue Mission starts now.